All right. Is everything good? Everything looking okay? Just double checking some stuff here, guys. Hopefully notifications actually go out, but we are talking about YouTube. So, if you guys didn't catch it, we do actually have the Boomeranger rework on the test server right now. So that's what we're going to experiment with today. There is actually quite a few changes to Trove that are coming that are huge quality of life changes. One most notable is that the player market, which has normally been limited to 20 million flux for stuff being sold for flux, that's going to be increased to 50 mil. So Gonda's going to spike up. You're going to see a lot of mounts that normally people trade behind the scenes because the player market has its limitations. But I'm just sitting here on live server just waiting, because if you type /export account, this is going to be how you'll get all of your current progress onto the test server, which I did do that a couple minutes ago. So that we are hopefully going to be okay. Because when I was on the test server earlier, I realized, wait a minute, I don't have my maxed out gems. So hopefully we don't run into issues. Sometimes it can take a while. I don't think Solarian's gonna get a nerf. So a buddy of mine, Nintendo, he was actually playing with the Boomer changes, and I was in the Discord call with him. Yeah, see, it's not done yet, so we'll just have to wait. And generally speaking, the changes seem, what's the word? Like, the gameplay is not as different as you might expect it to be. However, based on what we were testing out together, I mean, obviously I still gotta wait until the stupid server allows me online. It seems Boomer can possibly be good at speed farming. We'll have to test it out for ourselves and see in a realistic situation. But it may secretly be a really, really powerful boss killer. Because the changes that they ended up making is they made, obviously the damage is just increased across the board. But then on top of all of that, some of his abilities are actually going to be distinctly different based on whether you're using a melee weapon or a bow. And I feel like the devs need to kind of nerf it or put a cooldown on, because what I'm worried about is the most optimal damage, just based on what I talked about with my buddy. I haven't experienced it myself yet. But the most optimal damage you can do with the Boomer right now, technically speaking, is, since your main abilities are going to end up changing based on the melee weapon that you're using, whether you're using melee or a bow, it changes the abilities like outright. And so if you'll know, similar to the Lunar Lancer and how it's got 2 separate cooldowns for the hook shot, so that's kind of what goes on with the Boomer right now. So it's actually most optimal for people on console, because you guys can open up an inventory and swap your weapon right on the fly. And then on PC, people are going to be forced to use macros. I'm not going to, because I don't care about optimizing damage that much. But my point is that you can basically use all of your abilities in ranged mode, swap to melee, and then use all of your abilities in melee mode. And then just kind of keep swapping back and forth. All right, anyways, with that explanation out of the way, let's see if we can finally get online on the test server. The cool thing too is that with this being on the test server, it does mean that it's probably going to be scheduled for October on PC. For those of you that are just joining in, I exported my account and I've just been waiting for my character to carry over into the test server, which it looks like we're good. Let's go. Okay. So let's see here. I got a whole bunch of crap in my inventory that I really should have fixed before I went on to the test server, but oh well. I'm just getting rid of all this stuff because we're on the test server, so it doesn't matter. Hello? What if I just collect all? There we go. Get rid of all this, get rid of all that. There we go. So that'll help out my inventory a little bit, which will allow me to take everything off. Not the ring. So the odd thing is that the ranged mode is actually a lot stronger on Boomer, despite the fact that the hidden ring effects seem to be the exact same. So yeah, needless to say, Boomer might be broken right now. like brokenly powerful, but we'll see. Oh, you know what? Actually, sorry, just before we swap all my gems and stuff off, I wanna see an average of how much damage we do on Shadowhunter. When we're in U11. Hello? Okay, let's take a quick peek at the most difficult area in the game and then see how our boomer is going to end up faring. Just because I'm curious. My favorite Shadow Tower boss? Those, bruh, Shadow Towers are not like a thing anymore. Unfortunately. No, I don't know. I liked Dread. Daughter of the Moon's pretty cool too, though. Hydra was neat in practice, but then the execution was like, bleh. Okay, where is an enemy? Hello? I have... What? Okay, there we go. Maybe they nerfed the spawn rates? Probably not. Okay, so we're doing 3 to 4 mil. This is without, like, any buffs or anything like that. 3.9. 3 to 4 mil. That's safe to say. So let's see what our boomer does. That's also 3 mil, like, with a rapid-fire machine gun, obviously, so... Whoops. Bear with me. It's a lot of dumb menuing. Welcome to Trove. We're not going to end up going through the patch notes today, by the way, guys. Today's stream is specifically focusing on the boomer, but, I mean, you guys know me. You know me. I cover everything, so... this is going to be like the live stream of us experiencing it for the first time, but I'll, of course, make a shorter video. Whoops. Once I get the hang of all the changes and know all the ins and outs of it and kind of leave my feedback towards it and stuff like that. I do think that it's going to go through quite a few iterations because generally speaking, it does seem pretty busted right now, both in good and bad ways. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens with that. Whoops, I don't want that ring. So I guess first we'll try it with a bow just because. Let's just give him this guy. I don't really care. Show all. Magic man. Okay, so there's the different bows because basically the way that it works right now, here, let me get rid of the aura on my weapon. So there's something to do with the way this guy works, right? And that's a subtle enough one. It's fine. His base attack now actually cycles in ranged mode, so it's gonna actually cycle. It's even more of a Zelda reference than it was previously, because it's gonna cycle through a fire arrow first, which that's going to apply a damage over time effect, and we'll see how big or how bad that's going to end up being. The second arrow is going to end up being an ice arrow, which is going to end up slowing down an enemy. Is this the right one? Yes. And then the third arrow is supposed to be an exploding arrow, which Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I assume that's supposed to just be the area of effect one. I'm not sure. Oh, excuse me. This was the main reason why I had to export my account again, because I didn't have little old Ernie. Ah, yes. All right. I need crystal rings. So I gotta head into the hub first. I mean, I guess we could test out his damage before we even get a crystal ring, but I don't know. Oh my god, what is this new sigil in the top left? That's what you guys were talking about. Ooh, that's looking slick. That actually feels like a proper endgame sigil. Damn, dude, that actually looks real tight. I like it. Like diamonds and junk. Oh, apparently they also changed a bunch of the tutorial stuff, which again, we'll experience that later. Where the heck is Boomer? What's the Boomer one look like, guys? I have no idea because I've never crafted it. I shouldn't have any for the Boomer, I don't think. Oh, I do. Okay, well. We're not gonna go too far into this. I mean, you know, it's the test server, so we kind of can, but at the same time, it's like, no, I just want to get, you know what? I'll get rid of all my extra garbage gems right now, too. I guess I could get rid of my Shadowhunter ring as well. No, I'll hang on to that just in case we want to see, like, big boy damage. Wait, where's those C1s? Oh, they already got deleted. Okay. Yeah, and then there's Boomer. Okay, what am I missing? Prime loops. I got plenty of prime loop boxes, so we're fine. There we go. Still can't do any more of those, so we'll just craft a whole bunch of these. Oh, hey. Oh, it's been... Okay. That's not that big of a deal. And then, did we end up getting any decent rings out of that? C2. C2. You know what? I can just loot collect all of these. What am I thinking? Oh my god. Oh. I saw the C4 ring as I was destroying stuff, and I was like, wait a minute. That's my bad. Still need more prime loops. Yeah, bear with me, guys. I know that you want to see, like, all the new changes and abilities and stuff. Okay, let's do this, I guess, because I don't think I can do the better box. No, because that's way up there. Honestly, this should probably be fine for us. Yeah, C3 ring. And it's got bad stats, but I don't really care. That's good enough. Okay, let's hop into a world, I guess, and see. Do I have my torch on? Yes, I do. It's just that my banner isn't showing. So let's test out his damage. This is just raw, you know, without changing anything. Is there new Chaos Crafter costumes? I heard that they had a new Chaos Crafter. Like, they separated all of the Chaos Chest content into a second crafting table, which makes sense. Do I want Unyielding? No, I want Trailblazing. Okay. Where is a test subject? Yeah, I'll be using Sword Scythe for sure. So this is full movement speed gear, by the way. Just a heads up. All right, what's my base attack? 2 mil. Not bad. Why am I not hitting 100% crit, though? Really? So his crit rate is that much lower than the Shadow Hunter that I actually have to cycle some of my stats over. That's interesting. Okay. I am only going to have a C3 sword, I think. If I recall. I'll have to double check. But let me randomize some of the stats on my rings here. So we need 8. I can probably just get that on one of these. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's... Oh, geez, that's still not enough. Okay, never mind. I calculated that wrong. I am an idiot. Okay, that's okay. Math is hard. You know what? We don't need the max health anyway, so I don't care if we overdo it. We just need to get that crit hit at 100%. So our base movement speed is 115, using a flash 135, so it is better than mount movement speed at the very least. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Yes, Potato. Like I said, dude, I did see the messages, but I'm leaving the DM there for when I have time. Because otherwise, if I check the message, then I will never be able to find it again. Okay, let's see. What are we doing with our base attack? 2 to 3.5 mil. Not bad. That was also a 4.2. I don't know what the variation is. Maybe it's our little ally, Ernie. Oh, yeah, our shots don't phase through walls. I gotta get used to that. And apparently the range is just god-awful. Or is it just that laggy? Yeah, it's just that laggy. I'm not noticing any unique effects on these arrows. Like, there's kind of like different video effects on the enemy itself, but I mean, generally, it's not like we're supposed to be using all of these effects just ourselves, right? Or base attack, I mean. So let's take a quick peek. So Final Fairy, I guess that's going to be our passive. So Boomerang can equip either a sword or a bow. Basic attacks have the ability to change based on what weapon the Boomeranger is using. With the bow equipped, base attacks will shoot fire arrows, ice arrows, and bomb arrows in that order. Fire arrows deal damage over time. Ice slows enemies. Bombs deal damage of an area. With the sword equipped, every third attack summons a cyclone at your location, dealing damage over time for a short time. Additionally, a fairy companion will heal the Boomeranger at low health. So that's what this little thing is. Because that's not new, is it? Huh. I wonder if that's actually good healing. It's probably not, because we are talking about Trove. So the boomerang... sorry. Boomerangs! Apparently. Throw street boomerangs that return after hitting an enemy or a wall. Right, this is the ability that... Hi, Joe. Hi, Val. This is the ability that Joe was telling me about. So this thing is actually either explained wrong or it just you'll see in a second. Okay, so every third basic attack recharges this ability. So just using your base attack, if caught, the player will gain increased attack speed and damage for a short duration. Boomerangs have a chance to stun, and this ability can has a stock of 4. Okay, I don't know why it says it that way, but The weird thing is this doesn't actually, from what Joe and, you know, Joe was mostly doing the testing. I was just in the call with him. We don't actually get a damage increase. So our damage is at 547, right? Shoot it at a wall, it comes back to us. Our damage has not changed. However, you will notice that our attack speed goes up and our movement speed goes up. Not for a very long amount of time, but 115 movement speed and 278 attack speed. And then if we end up using the boomer, you see our movement speed is at 130 now, and our attack speed is at 320. So I don't know if it's a typo on their part. I don't know. Do we get the buff if we just shoot it at nothing? Yeah, it's just about it coming back to us. Okay, it's not about tagging a target. Let's see how much damage that sucker does. Because the fact that we can spam these, 6 mil, not bad. And the fact that we can throw a couple of them. Yeah, so we're supposed to be combining that with our base attacks, so that's kind of cool, I guess. These enemies are really, really powerful, by the way. And then, what about the class gem? Did that change at all? Oh, that's where a lot of my damage is missing. Right, because I don't have a good class gem on this guy. Okay, it's still Bach Bomb. Big and tiny bombs become... Big and tiny bombs, yes, that's right, because his bombs change based on melee or ranged, which we'll show in a minute. So it just basically makes it so that your bombs spawn chickens. Okay, cool. The number 1 ability, so Big Bach Bomb. Throws a time bomb of big damage and causes knockback to enemies damaged by it. These spawn chickens and blah, blah, blah. Just the usual, as you would expect. Doesn't seem to deal damage to the environment or anything. Let's see how much more damage our babies are doing, though. Come, my children. Get... Okay, they don't follow me. I feel like that's an oversight. I'm also noticing there is nothing to reduce the cooldown of our bomb anymore. Like, we're only really reducing the cooldown of our right click, which kind of sucks. All right, what's the bomb do? 10 mil, not bad. And what about the babies? 12 mil each, and if I pop a flash, 30 mil each. Let's go. Okay, that's a lot of damage, actually. Because that's 30 mil per each of these little freaks. Yikes. Okay. No wonder they don't let us cool down our bomb anymore. I mean, unfortunately, as you can see, most things are still going to be dead before our babies even do anything. And I really dislike the fact that they're so stupid. Like, why don't they follow me? They really should change that so that they don't wander. They should follow you. That's kind of annoying. Okay. Let's take a peek at the mysterious urn. Yeah, okay. So this just says the same thing. However, the mysterious urn does have new effects now, so we'll see if we can get them. So there's the big chicken. Wait, how much damage is he doing? 15 mil, pop a flask, 37 mil, almost 40 mil. That's not bad. If I had my class gem fully maxed out, he disappears pretty dang quick, though. Now, obviously, the whole thing is that in combination with all of your abilities, this guy can potentially be quite devastating right now. The real question is going to be whether or not he's going to be better ranged or, what the? Ranged or melee. Let's see if we can get one of the other effects. Okay, so that just spawned our little babies. So you could see how crazy it could be if you get your babies to spawn from the hat or the urn as well as your bomb. That could be pretty crazy. Keep in mind that I'm, again, not using flasks or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's take a peek. Where the heck is my C3 sword? That's not... There we go. Candy Bar, right? He was the last guy that I used. Yeah, there we go. So this will be the true test, because we want to see this guy. Hello, enemy. Okay. So what does it say about our base attack? Every third attack does the cyclone. Does it say that our sword is going to reduce cooldown as well? It doesn't say anything about the cooldown, but it might be... Oh, basic attacks have ability... Okay, maybe. That is considerable damage. With the cyclone triggering, that's better than bow. At least it was on that enemy. Let's see if we can find another test subject. Super strong boy. Get over here, boot. That's way stronger than using a bow. What the hell? Look at it, it's shredding them, dude. The cyclone. How much damage is that cyclone doing? Cyclone's only doing like 1 mil per, but it seems like it can stack. Yo, it does. So this might be the boss killer version of this guy too, because potentially you just have these like spamming out non-stop. And I mean, it's just additional damage, but that's pretty nuts. Okay, let's see the other abilities. So his boomerang is different. Boomerang of the wind. Another Zelda reference. Throws a large boomerang. I like that. That deals damage to enemies it passes through, so it actually phases through enemies instead of what we saw with the other guy. So the other thing too that I forgot to mention was that when we were using our right-click boomerang with ranged mode, as far as I know, it was actually shooting 3 of them out at a time, which means that you can shotgun blast enemies. So this phases through enemies, and if caught by the player, will gain increased attack speed and damage for a short time. But no, it's going to end up being the exact same thing, where it just gives us the movement speed and attack speed, and it gives us less of it. We're like 1% off. That's very odd. What? Why is it 1% off on the attack speed and 1 on the movement? That's so strange. Very weird. Okay. And then, oddly enough, the boomerang doesn't have 5 stacks, but our bombs do now. So these throw out small bombs, timed bombs that explode, dealing damage to targets. These spawn chickens. That The ability has a stock of 5. So let's test this out on this idiot. Hiya! I said hiya! Okay, it's just a laggy mess. Weird, but okay, whatever. The point is that you can just spawn these little minions a lot more often, which is very, very nice. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure the ring effects are the exact same, as Joe mentioned. I don't like the fact that the devs seem to have overlooked the movement speed of the class. Because on average, like, what are you gonna do? Throw this out and then you gotta wait to try and catch it so that you get the movement speed buff, and it just, I don't know. There we go, 3.7. That's not bad for like a little bomb. It seems to destroy dungeons too. So this is something we can't lasermancy, by the way. Let's take a quick little peek. Can my bombs please recharge? I'm just very curious. Wood. That seems like a bug. That seems like an oversight. So it doesn't blast down. The floor underneath it doesn't change, but all around it, everything gets destroyed. And this is actually blocks that cannot be lasermancied, which means that this is also, if I can get a normal bomb. Yeah, look at that. So look at how resistant that is versus just one of these bombs. Instantly deletes everything. That's kind of interesting. And then I think the urn is just going to end up being the exact same thing. These bombs are not... What just happened? Why am I big now? I don't have lunacy. What the hell was that? That was very weird. Did I just get like the luckiest urn where it just does every effect at the same time or something? Why did I get big? That's very weird. Okay. Well, anyways, let's do a little bit of a test here. So this is against normal enemies. Yeah, it still looks like I'm gonna have to pop a flask, which is perfectly fine. But if I end up using all my other abilities, one thing that I'm not super keen on is the boomerang itself. Like, I like how it phases through enemies, but I don't like how this boomerang in particular, like, it actually goes where I aim it. Which some people might say that that's good, but when I'm doing melee mode, I usually end up aiming down so I can see everything. And I would rather I just press the right click and it just shoots out straight, even if I'm aiming down. I don't know. No, I know that these are Skyline enemies, Joe. That's why I'm, like, using them as my test subject. Whoa! Whoa! Where's it going? Okay, well, that's one of the new effects. Weird. Interesting. Okay, yeah, so quick feedback would just be the lack of movement speed. That's the real hindrance on this guy. Okay, let's see if we can get one of the hidden ring effects. Oh, I don't have anything in our club world. Oh no, the gunslinger rework is not going to happen. Because as far as the devs are concerned, there is nothing to rework with the class, right? Okay. What was I doing? Polishing. So what do we got? Overstuffed Urn. The urn triggers an additional effect. That might be a lot more useful now, seeing as the urn like has so much more damage potential. And then Cyclone, your third melee attack now pulls enemies. That's pretty useless. Let's just get the Overstuffed Urn. Just because that seems pretty cool. Like, whatever that urn ability we had, where it triggered like 50 things, could you imagine that triggering twice? Big Chicken and healing. They really gotta remove some of these urn effects. Like, that healing effect is just like, who cares? I really don't like that they don't follow me. Okay, I want to also take a quick little peek, because you guys keep saying, go to the Chaos Crafter. Okay, Chaos Mounts, they moved it all around. Allies, ships, wings. That's actually very nice how they changed all of this. Okay, where's the new crafting table? Because I'm not seeing any new costumes there. Oh, there it is. Chaos Combinator. Okay, so this is where you get all the classes. And then oh boy, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different costumes. Wow. Are these Solarian costumes? Vanguard costume, Vanguard costume, Vanguard costume. Really? Nothing for the Solarian? Oh wait, there's a couple Bard costumes here. I just can't craft these because they cost, of course, Bardium. Whoa, okay. Well, that's cool. I'll make another video that'll talk about the costumes and stuff like that. Anything with light or dark? No. Okay. Interesting. So just to reiterate the point that I made earlier, guys. So if I end up, like, let's say I throw all of my bombs, right? And then I swap to ranged, and then I throw down a big bomb. So look how many freaking chickens we have. This might be the boss killer version of this boomer, just because of the fact that you can spam those abilities. What about the urn? Is that separate? It is a separate timer. Unless, oh, never mind. I don't know. I can't do my right click, but at the least I could throw down a big bomb, and then I could start throwing down little bombs just to get additional babies. Oh, Tamarius is using all the different costumes. Those are some dope-ass costumes, dude. Jeez. Okay, let's do... I guess we'll just test out normal farming, right? Kind of got to see for ourselves. If the melee radius is big enough to pull enemies in. Oh! New quest icons. Okay, I like that. Is any other little things? I know that the tutorial has changed, but we'll spend another video talking about that. Okay, let's head out. So if I do that, that didn't give me the boost because I have to stand perfectly still in order to have the boomerang come back to me. Another huge oversight from the devs. I don't know why they can't just give us a good movement speed build, like, for Christ's sake. I shouldn't be using Ernie as our ally as well. I also should be using Bounder. Whoops, there it is. Why would I use the dummies in the club multi? Those things are broken. And they do not give good representation of like a field test, you know? Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah. I might be using the bombs more so like for destruction than combat, frankly speaking. Not bad damage for you, 11 geode surface. I mean, generally speaking, this isn't like the strongest area in the game or anything, but that is bad. So it seemed like our urn triggered like a whole bunch of different effects. That was that super ultimate one that triggers everything because we got so many chicken babies. That hat thing is bad. That is not useful in any way, shape, or form off of normal enemies. Like, you're going to be done with everything beforehand. This is considerable damage, even if his movement speed is not what I'd like. Let's get out of this dungeon, because for some reason our boss radar mod is only half working. I really don't like this lack of movement speed, my dude, because I basically have to stand here, wait for that to come back to me to give me even a slight boost, and even then it's not really that great. Yeah, I know, Joe, that's what I was thinking too. Like, it seems like the slow falling hat is definitely got to do with like end game areas like delves or, you know, leviathans and crap where the enemy is just going to be standing still and actually able to tank it. But for normal everyday adventure stuff, not that good. Oh, there was the hat. 64 mil. Good lord. So if I popped a flash, that would have done over 100 mil. Okay, people weren't kidding when they talked about it being big boy damage. These bombs are a little slow to actually use practically. I mean, I guess it's still cool that it's there, but yeah, melee is definitely the way to go for like normal farming. That's for darn sure. I don't know about for speed, because there's not really any speed on this guy. So let me stand still, have that come back to me. Gives me a little bit of movement speed, not enough though. 150 movement speed. I mean, honestly, it feels slow. It's not, but it feels like it is. That's a new dungeon, isn't it? I don't remember this dungeon. Maybe I just never saw it before. Yeah, not bad. You gotta consider too that I'm also not using there we go. If I end up using a flask, it just melts. Like the enemy basically evaporates. Yeah, a lot of my mods don't seem to be working, which is odd. Like even my pyro disc is back to the old school one instead of my purple one, which is interesting. Still, I want more movement speed. Movement speed is the big thing that's gonna keep this guy down. Like, I know that it already had a pretty decent amount of damage, but this is still better than it is on live server right now, that's for sure. I don't know if I'll put the patch notes out tomorrow. We'll see. Like, right now I kind of just want to do some testing and stuff like that. Tomorrow's video is probably going to be focusing on the new costume, because obviously it's the most relevant. The costume pack, sorry. But I'll you know me, I'll still cover everything. The urn definitely feels like it's where most of your damage is, at least for normal farming stuff. Do we have a leviathan nearby? No, we don't. Okay. Let's swap over to ranged and see how this fares against like enemies. The boomerang is really powerful, that's for darn sure. Also, the movement speed buff that we get from the ranged boomerang does last a little longer. But I'm not used to it. It's gonna take me a while to get used to this guy. He's very weird right now. Yeah, you can already see range just sucks. Okay. Are we still good? Yeah, everything seems good on our end. Trove outright froze. Like, is this going to blue screen me? I've never had this happen before. Not like this. Oh, there we go. Okay, well, that's new. Yeah, that's okay. That's a different crash. Cool. They probably brought the memory link back, or memory, bleh, the memory leak is probably back in Trove again. One or more mods aren't working. Yes, I am well aware. Yeah, range, like, I'm not knocking range. I'm not knocking the total damage potential, because it might end up being good for other aspects. But as far as just dealing with large groups of enemies and even like bosses in U11 and stuff, it's not really as sufficient. Which, I mean, granted, you could have the crystal ring effect, the one that ends up influencing the bow. That will probably end up making it a lot stronger, because right now I just don't have that on my ring. Like, I don't have a ring that has that. But my argument is that you shouldn't be 100% reliant on a hidden ring effect. Like, my Shadow Hunter is already just devastating in both speed and damage, and I don't have to rely on a hidden ring effect at all. So the boomerang is also very, very broken. You saw that, how I shot it down and it just stayed there on the ground doing nothing. So definitely lots of stuff that they gotta fix with this. It's a really good starting point. Let's say that. But, yeah. The little babies, once you get them going, it's all good. But seriously, I think I would prefer melee regardless. Okay, what else can we end up testing out? Yep. So I know that a bunch of you guys have just been hopping into the stream and so on and so forth, talking about, you know, we're talking about the Boomer rework. So generally speaking, not much has changed in terms of its gameplay. It has slightly, but frankly speaking, for a rework, this feels very, very minimal, which might explain why it's coming out so soon. Generally though, it's just more damage. That's kind of it. They did change the abilities around a little bit. Like melee mode has some different abilities than ranged mode now, which is cool. I appreciate the effort, but I don't know, dude. The urn is really good as well. I kind of want to test this out on like super strong boy enemies though, but I guess we'll just go to the Sundered Uplands. It's the only thing that we can really do outside of search for a Leviathan, but I don't want to do that. But yeah, I mean, so far it's not bad. At the end of the day, for me anyways, what I always question whenever they end up doing a rework is it fun? Is it better than what the initial class was in terms of its gameplay? Not really. This hasn't really changed anything fundamentally, which might be perfectly fine for you boomer mains out there. You know, at the very least, you got the damage. That's for darn sure. But as you can see, unfortunately, you really don't have the speed on this guy because there's not really any abilities that still augment his speed. So we're kind of still reliant on the usual tricks. Speaking of which, let me swap my ally over. Which one is it? Jingles? No. Animated Jug. That's it. Which works perfect with a magician. But I mean, just to, you know, show you guys the example, I mean, we're in Sundered Uplands. This is the strongest area in the game outside of super deep delves. And even without using a flask, you can see we're doing pretty decent damage here. Granted, I'm not using him super optimal because I'm not used to having to spam all of my abilities. Let me swap this to that just so it stops interrupting me. I'm not like... The thing that I dislike about this version of the Boomer is how none of the abilities are cooling down your effects, you know? Like, it basically just took a lot of the mechanics from the Vanguardian and just threw them on the Boomer, which is kind of weird. Because Vanguard has the exact same effect where when you end up doing your third attack, it ends up reducing cooldowns, right? And now we basically have that on Boomer, instead of the whole boomerang thing nerfing him or you know, reducing cooldowns. So I don't know, it's too early to tell. Obviously, you know, there's room for improvement. I think the damage is okay. It probably is secretly really good if I knew how to actually use it properly, but the weak link again is just the movement speed, the one thing that the developers always seem to overlook every time they end up doing reworks to classes. Like, I was really surprised that they even gave Shadowhunter the movement speed abilities that they did. Because, usually it's something that they just kind of ignore, you know? It's still cool, though, but, I mean, would I end up swapping a Boomer over this? Nah, it's not really that exciting. Like, it essentially just makes it so that some of your abilities are different, and that's really it, you know? Here we go. Big boy boss. Let's take a peek. The real test would be whether or not this class functions well against, like, as a boss killer, which probably seems like it would end up doing pretty well. But we're not really there yet to be able to say, you know? No, I know, like, that's the thing. It's weird because you can throw your boomerang out and then it does give you a decent amount of movement speed. Like, if I throw my boomerang out, I'm at 159, pop a flask, 179 for at least a brief second there. I do have movement speed on all of my gear and everything. Obviously, if I had my a C4 melee weapon, it would be slightly more. Not that big of a deal. But it just doesn't last long enough, the buff. That that could be a very quick band-aid fix, is if they just made it last longer. Because then if you could have consistent movement speed like this without it disappearing, like you saw it already left like almost immediately, if they fixed that, then I would be happy. Because that's not bad movement speed. It's not great, but it's not bad either. So again, you know, just here's us walking around. We use this, we use a flask. This would be basically the consistent movement speed outside of tagging enemies, and then we already lost the buff. It doesn't last long enough. So if they change that, that would be cool. Why is my star bar so low? Weird. Yeah, okay. I guess we can check out some of those. Well, no, I guess that'll do it for today. We'll probably just focus this on the Boomeranger singular. I guess I'll run down the abilities again really quick for you guys before we call it. I know that this was a shorter stream, but generally speaking, I want to experiment with this a little bit more myself, and then I'll just have like a video that's going to highlight it. Keeping in mind this is the first version of it, so obviously it has room to improve, hopefully. But generally speaking, your base attack is going to end up reducing the cooldown of your boomerang and none of your other abilities, which is kind of weird. And then otherwise, when you're in melee mode, you're throwing down 5 tiny bombs, and then your boomerang is just a big one that shoots through all of the enemies. Versus if you're using ranged mode, what changes is your boomerang is going to be 4 or 5 of them. I think it's supposed to be 4. Yes, 4 of them that shoot in an arc in front of you, which can end up being pretty good for a shotgun blast, but is not as good as the melee damage in my opinion. And then your bomb is just going to end up being the traditional big boy bomb. And that's basically it. Like, they didn't really change that much. I'd like to see if I can end up getting a crystal ring that would have the hidden ring effect of the bow ability. That would be very nice. But again, we'll have other videos that'll end up focusing on the class specifically, but then also there's tons of quality of life changes. We will have a video focusing on the patch notes. You guys know how it is. I'll cover everything. I didn't really plan on this update hitting today, so that's why you'll have to pardon me being a little bit all over the place, because I kind of had like a bunch of our real life stuff I had to do, and then afterwards it was like, uh-oh, I guess I gotta hop on Trove and do this. So for tomorrow's video, you guys will probably end up seeing the video reviewing the new costume pack, so that I have time to stock up and get videos ready talking about all this test server stuff. But otherwise, you guys can always test it out for yourselves early if you want. Test server is available right now on the PC version of Trove. If I had to guess, I'd say this update will probably end up coming out on PC sometime in October, which means either November or December for a console release. However, while the quality of life changes are actually big in this update, the Boomeranger changes are not that great. At least so far. And my point is that it's very small in that regard, so maybe console will get it right away. But either way, I appreciate you guys coming out. Hope you had fun. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want, support the channel. You guys are watching a live stream, so of course you're subbed.